Hey, what's up, everybody? Brian here, and I just wanted to give a shout out to all the first year teachers. What you guys are doing this year is just incredible. It's amazing to come in this year, to come in during a pandemic, to come in when everything with education is being thrown about, and just plug along and jump right in. We've got some amazing first year teachers here in my school, and I know that you probably do in your school as well where you're watching. And so if you're an experienced teacher, just make sure you're lending a hand to those first year teachers. I can't imagine trying to do this for the first time. My first year teaching wasn't during a pandemic, but it was a mess. I had all of these big ideas. So I got a job as a 7th grade world history teacher on the coast of Mississippi. Now, I'm not from the coast. I am from Mississippi, but I'm not from the coast area. Didn't really know a lot about the area or the school, and just took the job. That was where I could get hired. That's where I could get a job, and that's where I went. So in the comments, let me know where was your first job. I'd be curious to see kind of where you were or what you were teaching when you started out. In this town in Mississippi, there was 2 middle schools, 1 high school, 2 middle schools, and the 1 middle school was mostly middle class, white majority, and the school I was at was on the other side of the tracks, just kind of the classic cliche, but it was 94% African American. It was 98%, I think, below the poverty line, and there were just a lot of issues that our students were dealing with on a day-to-day basis that I was completely unaware of where they were coming from. I was completely unaware of how to relate to them. So my story is, grew up as a young kid outside of Jackson, Mississippi. And then when I was 10, we moved to Russia as missionaries. So most of what I remember about school actually took place in another country. Didn't have a lot of the racial components of society there that, there are racial components, but not as prevalent, not as visible in that society. And then to come back to Mississippi and to really see this and really get hit in the face with it, and some of the disparities and economic and social disparities between just even the other middle school and the school that I was at, and the way people talked about the school I was at was just heartbreaking. And to see and hear the stories of my students and where they were coming from, and it really set me back, and really it was a disaster of a year. I mean, thankfully we had some amazing administrators, and they really encouraged and supported and really uplifted us. And especially, it was a school that had a lot of new teachers every year because just the nature of the school, a lot of teachers didn't want to stay. I just remember this one class period, my 4th period class, they were my nightmare class because it just seemed like there was all these disciplinary issues with this class that just kept propping up. And the worst part was that I had them all during lunch, and then I had to take them into class after lunch when they got all sort of amped up from being around their friends, and just had a couple of these boys that they felt like they needed to just be the center of attention. And even some of the female students were a bit of a handful. I'll never forget the day that I was trying to enforce my discipline policy, which I changed probably 4 times in that first year. So shout out to those of you that are trying to figure out how your discipline works and how you try to be fair and equitable in the way that you have these procedures, but you have to have them in place, otherwise you get run over. And I'll never forget the day that she looked at me and told me that I needed to just wait and see what was going to happen to me because I was trying to enforce the rules. And that was a day definitely that, not ashamed to admit that I definitely got shaken up a little bit, definitely went home and just kind of lost it. And I was just thinking, like, is this the right thing for me? So again, the whole point of this story is to say everyone's first year is tough, but especially this year, if you're jumping in this year, regardless of what your school environment is like, this is a tough year to start. And so just want to encourage you, if you're an experienced teacher, to go out, find a new teacher, give them a hug, not a hug, but give them something kind of encouragement, give them a word of encouragement. This is a time of the year where we really start to drag a bit. Again, shout out to all the first year teachers. And if you're a first year teacher watching this, let me know in the comments. And if there's any way that I could help you or assist you or just come alongside you as you go through this journey, please don't hesitate to let me know. And I would love to connect with you that way. So signing off now. See you next time.